Sherry Holland back here. And what I'm going to go over today, what I'm going to teach today is how you can go from hating, disgusted with your profession to becoming obsessed and in love. And by the way, you'll make a ton of money too. You ready to learn? Top 5 careers in the whole entire US of A is number 5. Number 5 in the whole USA is going to be your nurses. Number 4 is going to be your secretaries. Number 3 is going to be your cashiers. Number 2 is going to be those involved in food services, your McDonald's guy. And number one in the whole US of A is going to be those involved in the sales industry. Okay, so now make the sound. Whenever you hear the word sales, make the sound of how that makes you feel. Do you do 1 or 2? Number 1, ooh. Number 2, ooh. Okay, so if you do number 1, let me tell you, it's because your philosophy is whenever you get somebody partnered in, or whenever you're in the process of getting somebody to purchase your product, your philosophy is once you get them and you're like, got him, or I gotta go get some. And here's this, that whole mindset, it comes back from the 1800s. Whenever these traveling snake oil salesmen would go from town to town trying to convince all these people that their snake oil will go and cure everything that they've got. Cancer, done. Acne, done. You can't walk and they're dead, done. It'll cure you. And then what happens is once they sell, they move on to the next town and never come back. That's where the friction began, was clear back and then. And what happens is you're carrying it with that mindset, you're carrying it through today. And see, what's tricky is not only do you have your own set of tricks, but those prospects now have their own set of tricks. And what the prospects will do when you're talking to them in this type of mindset, the number 1 type of mindset, is the prospects will tell you everything you want to hear. Everything you want to hear, just to get you through the pitch deck, just to get you to leave, just to get you to get off the phone, just to get you to get out from in front of them. And then once they're gone, block, no answer, voicemail. Anybody relate? Come on, be honest. Anybody? Is it you? And how can I say this? Because this was me. This was me a decade ago. So the question is, how do you get from number 1 to number 2? Ooh. Let me explain to you. There's a mindset called collaboration. And that's what I'm going to teach you today. So the question is, how do you collaborate? Well, number 1 is you change your wording from I got one to you change your wording to, man, I just came in today and I discovered my client's need. I discovered my client's need of what would happen if they don't take care of this in the next year, 5 years, 10 years. I've saved them so much money, so much emotional stress. I came in and I fixed their problem. And not only did I fix their problem, I over-delivered. I gave everything I have plus more. And I've created a lifelong raving fan. To help illustrate my next point, I want you to think about you going to the doctor's office. And whenever you're at the doctor's office, you very first walk in and the doctor grabs you and takes you over and has you look at all of his credentials on the wall, has you look at all his transcripts from college, has you look at all these patient testimonials of how he's done such an amazing job, saved lives, and has you look at his bank account to show you how successful he was financially. And then, once he's done showing you all this data, he writes you a transcript and says, see ya. Okay, what would you say? Let me just tell me, what would you do? You're like, what? You don't even know what I need. You don't know anything about me, internally, externally. You don't even know what my pains are. You don't even know why I came here to go help. You don't know anything about me. So my question is, would you do business with that doctor ever again? Would you refer that doctor to any of your friends, any of your family, any of your acquaintances, ever again? Even if the doctor diagnosed you correctly, because there are some issues in our society that are global to where 95% of people have these issues. So even though the doctor gave you the right prescription, would you go do business with him? And the answer is no, because you don't feel like he understood you. You don't feel like he knows what you need. You don't feel like you were heard. He spent the majority of his time throwing out his pitch deck of what he's accomplished, what he's done, all his content information, and 0 time asking you a question, 0 time asking what you needed, 0 times asking about you. Let that sink in. So what doctors actually do is what? They bring you into their office, they sit down with their pen and paper, and they ask you question after question after question. Repeat some questions back to you. Ask you how that feels. Ask you on a scale of 1 to 10. Ask you where you're at. Ask you your whole entire history. And by the time they're all the way done with this whole discovery session of figuring out who you are, what you do, what your pain is, what they're doing during this discovery session is one of two things. Number one, identifying your pain. Identifying your pain, what's going on with you. Number two, they're trying to figure out if what they have to offer, they can add value to you. And so what happens is by them identifying these two things, they can come back to you and say, hey, you know what? I know what your issue is. I know what you want, but I can't help you. But I can refer you over to this person. Great. Option number two is they can identify exactly what you have going on and let you know that they have the answer and they can help. And you guys can go in and collaborate together. Oh, how does that make you feel? Okay, so the point is you got to be like a doctor in this. And here's a ratio is traditionally in sales is 80% of a sales conversation is done around the pitch deck. 20% usually at the end is done around the person. And that ratio is backwards. It's 80% discovery session, asking your prospect questions. What do they need? What they want? And asking question after question. And then the last 20% can be about your pitch deck. If you have what they need, then you can provide them a solution. If you have what they need, you can provide them a solution. But how can you give them a solution if you don't even know what they need? So, in closing, here's 3 things you can always remember. Number 1, during this whole entire process, both parties have equal rights to ask questions. So just because you're the one presenting, your prospect's supposed to be asking you questions, doesn't mean you can't ask questions. So number 1 is both parties can always ask questions. Number 2, both parties can say no at any point. If your prospect doesn't have the financial means to obtain what you offer, you can tell them no. You don't have anything for them that they can purchase. You don't have anything that can help them out right now. You wish you could, but you don't have. So it's okay for you to tell them no. It's okay for them to tell you no. And number 3, it's all about collaboration. If your end goal is to go get one, and their end goal is to save as much money as possible, both you guys are not collaborating. You're going after what you want. They're going after what they want. Option number 2 is you can go and collaborate. You figure out what they need. You figure out what you offer, and you can collaborate how you guys can both have a success and win. So in closing, I'm going to close with a coaching moment. Is that okay? And the coach is going to turn around and be you. Let's see how well you listened. So my closing moment is this. If I have a guy named Kyle, and Kyle goes into a presentation super stoked. As soon as he hits the desk to the prospect's place, he starts writing out all his pitch deck, showing all the PowerPoints, explaining all his credentials, explaining all this stuff. And then at the end, there's like this awkward silence and nobody really knows how to talk. And Kyle just feels lost because he doesn't know where to take the conversation. After this coaching session with you and me, what would you recommend Kyle to do? How would you coach Kyle? Drop it in the comments below. It's an honor. Thank you guys again.